Welcome to chapter 8 of the book of Job. Baldad's turn. I've changed the heading of the chapter a little bit from Baldad implies Job has sinned to he implied more that he's impious. And we'll go into this chapter after I read a little bit of Greek. Ipolavonde valvad o savhitis legi, nekritinos lalisis, tavta pneuma poliorimon to stomatosu. Baldad the Shuhite. Now, English, King James, they called him the Shuhite, and he's been known as the shortest man in the Bible. But that's only in English. His name in the Greek is he's a Savhitis, and I looked it up to try to figure out where this was, but the Savhitis only appears in the book of Job here with this person, Baldad. I tried looking up the alpha epsilon, as you see right here, can be replaced by a vita, which looks like a B, like David. David can have a delta alpha epsilon iota delta, David, or it can have a delta vita, which looks like the V, ID, iota delta. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So I thought, well, maybe it was Savitis. It was instead of sigma alpha epsilon, it was sigma vita, but I couldn't find anything in that either. Now it says in the third chapter that he was a tyrannos, a tyrant in English, and the tyrant in those days was a absolute ruler who was not restrained by any law. He was the law himself, made it as he wanted. And so this Baldad, we're told, was a tyrant. And he says, "Till when shall you speak these things by a talkative spirit of your mouth?" Well, here's the first insult. He'll have more as he's speaking. So a talkative spirit. You talk too much, Job. Will the Lord transgress judging? Is he going to not judge anymore? Or the one making all things disturb the just one? Now, he's almost implying that Job is not a just one, because if he was a just one, these things wouldn't be happening. And of course, Baldad is wrong. If your sons sin before him, that is before God, he sent them away in the hand because of their lawlessness, and they were all killed, the sons, and the second chapter. So, ouch. If your sons were righteous, then they wouldn't have died, basically, he's saying. A lot of terrible things against Job. Do we have friends that come and we think they're friends, but all they do is find fault with us and see the negative instead of the positive and try to blame us if we're not doing something? If we're doing it righteously or right, they'll come against us. And who wants a friend like that? But he did come, said to help Job in a difficult time. But then in 5 it says, "But you," Baldad says, "but you, rise early to the Lord Almighty, beseeching him." Get up and beseech God. If you are pure and true, see again, pure and true, so therefore he's not, he will heed your supplication. And so again, he's coming against him. Now, if you are pure and true, he will heed your supplication. He will restore to you the habitation of righteousness. Well, there's a certain amount of truth to that, but there's a certain part of it that's lacking, and that is the test. And Jesus was on the cross, and he died, although he did resurrect, but God allowed him to do that. And then martyrs, people that lose their life for Christ, are God in different ways, or martyrs, or die for God. And they may be supplicating not to be a martyr, but yet they are pure. But here he's kind of saying that Job is not. And later we'll see that he implies that Job is impious. And most of this from now on will be against the impious one, although it doesn't give the subject till towards the end of the chapter. And Baldad continues, "It will be then that as your first shall be little, yet your last will be an untold amount." So you might have a lot now, but it might not happen that way. And it goes on the next page, the first generation, and trace according to the race of the fathers. Go check history and see what happens. For we are of yesterday and have not known, for our existence upon the earth is as a shadow. So we don't know a whole lot. We're here for a short time, but check it out. Shall these things not teach you the things of the past and announce to you, and from out of the heart lead forth sayings of things of old? Does papyrus, and this is interesting, so this would put this, possibly knowing about papyrus would bring him close to Egypt, because that's where the papyrus came from. Does papyrus flourish without water? No. Or shall the flowering rush rise up high without drinking? No. Yet being upon the root and in no way harvested, shall it not be dried before the drinking of all pastures? It's a hard one here for me to understand exactly what he's trying to get at, but the person is, if they don't have the right words of God and doing the right things, then he would fail, more or less. So therefore will it be for the last of all of the ones forgetting the Lord. Now he's almost implying that Job is doing things without the Lord. Again, the subject we know is the impious one. For the hope of an impious one shall perish. For his house will be uninhabited. He's going to lose everything, the impious, in which Job did. And his tent will turn out to be for a spider's web, be empty. If one should overlook his house, in no way shall it stand. If you're not taking care of your own things, even grasping it, no way shall it remain. So basically, Job hasn't done the right things, take care of the things that he needed to. For it is wet under the sun, and his tender branch shall come forth from out of rottenness. That's the impious person. He's wet. It's wet, and he's going to be rotten. Upon a gathering of stones he goes to bed, the impious, and in the midst of gravel he shall live, and sort of what Job is going through. And if the place should swallow him, it shall lie to him, saying, have you not seen such a thing? That's kind of a weird figure here. For the undoing of an impious one is such. So now we see it's all about an impious one. This is what Job, Baldad is implying. And from out of the earth another shall sprout up. As always impious ones, he's saying. For the Lord in no way should undo the guileless. Somebody's clueless. Implying that again with Job. And every gift of an impious one he will not receive. So Job, if you're impious, you're good luck with God. But the mouth of true ones he will fill with laughter, and their lips with acknowledgement. And Job this is not the case because he's going through this test and horrible time. So this Bildad is really saying a lot of things that aren't really true, and God doesn't like it. And we find out at the end of the book that he comes against these guys. But their enemies shall put on shame, and the habitation of an impious one will not be. So again, the impious one. But now, chapter 9, the next video seminar, Job responds to Bildad. We'll see what Job has to say about Bildad's accusations. If you join us in the next video seminar, which I'm sure you will. Till then, God bless.